everybody. My name's Adam Lamping. I'm Head of Business Development here at thinkproject in the UK. I've been in the eco, architecture, engineering, construction, operations sector my whole career. thinkproject is a technology company in that space. And I'm super passionate about the opportunities for technology to support better outcomes for all stakeholders in this industry, and particularly the environment, so it's really cool to see what Tolis is doing in that space as well. So yeah, I'm here to talk a little bit about contract management, but also BIM and how we can enable as an industry better collaboration between the two. Just a little bit about me. Like I said, I've spent my whole career in the eco sector, working for the likes of Lang O'Rourke on the construction side, PCSG Consulting, and then Arcadis in terms of program and project management. And I feel like BIM and contract management is sort of somewhat of an unfortunate marriage. And I say that because typically when we talk about BIM and 3D models and data, we're really excited about the opportunities to exchange information between different tools and between different organizations. And often we can sometimes feel that contract management kind of constrains that somewhat. But then vice versa, on the flip side, is this in the way, the speaker thing? How do I? Is that okay, Phil? Can you still see the screen properly?
Yeah, I can see.
I didn't know if the names and the things like that were in the way of the screen. Do you see the screen clearly?
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, cool. Okay, great. Thank you.
You hold me back on the left, and I'm not designed for this on the right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I just set out to everybody saying, "What a funny slide."
Okay. Yeah, vice versa. From the contract management perspective, standard forms of contract were not designed for the BIM world. They were designed for the management of sort of static deliverables, drawings, documents, and these sorts of things. But ultimately, they want the same things. BIM is all about collaboration between information and between disciplines. And really, there is no better place to enable that collaboration than the contract. So I guess the opportunity or the challenge, if you like, is to bring those worlds together. I guess just to sort of give a little bit of context around what can happen when that unfortunate marriage has some challenges. I guess the most famous example is Tran versus Mott MacDonald from 2016, where due to a disagreement between scope and fees and things like that, Tran were actually denied access to the CDE, to the common data environment, to the BIM models and the data, if you like. So it was quite a watershed moment, if you like, in terms of those kinds of issues. I also read about a dispute in the US where, as a result of, again, a breakdown in communication between the scope and intent of the BIM models and what was on the drawings, resulted in litigation and delays on the project. And that was from White and Case, so you can read about that one online. That's a law firm that shared that story. Also, again, for context, if you read the latest National Construction Disputes, a legal review, you can see there that approximately 3% of construction disputes now include ownership or use of BIM models as part of those disputes. And according to research carried out by Arcadis in their global disputes report from 2020, the average value of a construction dispute in the UK is around 12.8 million. So pretty significant figures in terms of what can happen when things go wrong between these two worlds. So why does that happen? Just a few considerations from me in terms of, I guess, people, processes, and technology, because those things are all part of the challenge. On the people side, we've got role silos. We've got a number of different roles in the AECO sector. And typically those on the design side perhaps are not always aware of the contract management needs and challenges. And vice versa, perhaps those in the commercial and cost management side, things like BIM, CDEs, and digital are very new. So as an industry, we're still very much on this change curve as we migrate from, I guess, document-based deliverables into a data-driven future. So those things take time. Ultimately, from a process perspective, As I said earlier on, typically the standard forms of contract that we have in the UK have not always, were not designed with BIM and data and CDEs in mind. So in the UK, for example, something called the CIC BIM protocol was developed. That's not always been fully adopted or adhered to. Now moving forward, which is really positive, we've got things like the new ISO 19650, which has an information protocol. And indeed, the National Engineering Contract for NEC4 now also covers, again, the sharing of BIM and data between parties. So that's really encouraging that we're starting to get some frameworks, if you like, to allow these worlds to start to come together. Also on the technology side, we've also got silos in terms of technology and data. In terms of BIM, typically BIM's delivered in a number of different apps, and we'll revisit that later on. So that creates silos. And also contract management is often undertaken in perhaps document management systems or Microsoft Office applications. So again, it can be difficult to get data out, and again, that creates silos. And again, we'll come on to that later on. So how does thinkproject support that collaboration? As Phil said, we've done a couple of these Glimpse of the Future sessions now. So we've been opening up and sharing more around our platform-based approach to delivering services. So in the previous Glimpse of the Future session, you'll have seen some content on RAM, so that's available to go and look back at. So RAM's our asset management solution. We have a CDE solution called Conclude, which we'll be looking to share more around in future Glimpse of the Future sessions, which overall our product's aim is to derive insights from the applications and the data, which is why insights is right across the top. But I guess the main part of this presentation was to focus on our CMAR product for contract management and DSite for BIM management, and show how within those two use cases, we can start to bring data together to enable the collaboration between those two worlds that I was talking about. So in terms of how we support the collaboration between BIM and contract management, and we start with CMAR, again, and I've put a link to that Arcadis report at the bottom here, but in the Arcadis report for the top 3 causes of disputes in construction across the world, globally, typically the top 3 center around poorly drafted or incomplete and insubstantiated claims, failure to make awards or extensions of time between parties for compensation, and ultimately different parties on the contract really failing to understand or comply with their obligations. And that's exactly what CMAR, thinkproject's contract management solution, was designed to do. It's a web-based contract management solution, which is designed around the standard forms of contract. So just by using the tool and following it, you automatically comply and can deal with mitigate a lot of those challenges on the left-hand side. CMAR is events-based, so it's the events between parties, as in raising early warnings, tracking changes, and things like that. The documents are the result of that collaboration, and not the other way around, as it often is in document management systems. So CMAR really digitizes those obligations and allows that collaboration between the parties. And we've been doing that for the best part of 20 years. And we have about 250 active customers, including the likes of Highways England, Balfour Beatty, Turner and Townsend. So all different parts of both the demand and the supply side of the industry. And also really importantly, the events in CMAR, the collaboration, the discharging of the contract takes place in a very structured manner to enable links. And we'll revisit that again a little bit later when we talk about how we bring the data together. In terms of BIM, as I said, typically BIM is delivered in a number of standalone products, which adds cost and complexity onto projects, and can mean often if you want to, let's say, send BIM information into tools like CostOS, there can be data missing, there can be clashes in there, but in order to create a reasonable output, it relies on a lot of different products, and interfacing those is expensive and challenging. But also for the point of this discussion, it means, as I said earlier on, your data is scattered across different products. Whereas, again, thinkproject offers a product called DSite, which allows you to bring all of those BIM uses together in one central solution, which means, yes, we have automation opportunities and a rationalization of IT investment. But again, importantly for this discussion, all of our BIM data is in one place. And again, it has an API opportunity. So if we follow a detailed process like NEC 4 or ISO 19650, and we use the tagging capability I just referred to in CMAR, and the ability to tag models with that same weight breakdown structure in DSite, which is very similar to, say, 4D BIM, for example, we can then bring the data together in third-party visualization software. So here's a screenshot of an example that we've been developing. So here we can see the BIM model, but importantly, we can see the tagged contract events, defects, and RFIs, for example, that come from CMAR, linked to the BIM model to allow us to visualize it and improve the collaboration between those two worlds, on the basis that if we have a collaborative contractual process, we have well-structured data, and we have tools that can integrate this data together, we can then provide the insights and improve the collaboration between these two previously quite separated worlds. So that was a quick canter through. Thanks very much. And there's my email address there if anybody would like to reach out, and we can
continue the
conversation.